Another kinematic or kinetic measure is going to be force plates. And what do force plates measure? Right, so they measure what? Forces that you, basically they measure the concept of for every action there's equal and opposite reaction. So if I sway to the side, I'm moving in a medial plane or medial-lateral plane, which is across this way. I've generated some forces in that direction. If I sway forward or backwards, I've generated forces in that direction. And then, of course, I'm obviously generating a force down into the ground. Okay, so force plates measure those forces, and they divide them up into those components of medial-lateral, forward-backward force, and force into the ground. So here's an example of the vertical force measured, again, by our arm raise task. So this is a kinetic measure because I'm measuring forces, and what you can see is the darker line is the forces that are generated pre-flight. So you can see even before I actually raise my arm, I'm starting to generate forces, and up means vertical. I mean, I'm putting more force down. Okay, I'm driving myself into the force plate, and it's measuring reaction forces back against me. And so I can see, as I raise my arm, what am I doing? I'm driving myself into the ground. Okay, because of the reaction forces being generated here, I'm exerting a force greater than my body weight into the ground. Okay, and so you can see that's happening here, and then I just kind of get this pattern of motion. So what do you see post-flight, which is a thinner line? How would you interpret this change in the record?
As your arm goes up slower, you don't have to put as much force in the ground and stay.
Right. So you got it backwards, but that's exactly right. So the way you generate less vertical force in the ground during arm raise is to move your arm slower. Okay, and in fact, that's what, and we have measure I'm about to show you that show that by slowing your arm raise down, you don't generate as much vertical force. And that's consistent with, for this subject, where by generating less arm raise or less velocity arm raise, you have a compressed pattern of motion. And that also gets reflected in the vertical force that you generate during this motion. Okay, so force plates provide you kinetic information. They give you information about the forces you generate.